What if I told you that this ordinary $1 bill has the potential to become $1 million? No tricks, no lottery, no miracle investment, just a simple mathematical force so powerful that Albert Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. But here's the real mystery. If compounding is so powerful, if it can turn small money into life-changing wealth, why do most people never benefit from it? Why do most end up broke, paycheck to paycheck, or financially trapped? Because compounding has a dark side, a side that quietly works against you every day, every year without you noticing. Today, we're going to reveal the entire story of compounding, where it came from, how it grew into the ultimate wealth machine, what broke it, and why most people fail to use it even though the math is the same for everyone. And by the end, you'll see exactly how $1 truly can become $1 million, and why the window to use compounding may be closing faster than you think. Before we understand compounding in our lives today, we need to go back to ancient history. The idea of earning interest is thousands of years old, but the idea of interest on interest, the exponential snowball we now call compounding, that didn't appear at scale until much later. From the records of ancient Sumerian merchants, to Greek moneylenders, to the Roman tax collectors called publicani, interest existed. But compounding didn't, because the financial systems weren't stable enough to truly let it work. Then came the first real twist. In the 1600s, a group of merchants and shipowners in Amsterdam created something new, something so modern it still controls your life today: the first stock market. For the first time in history, wealth wasn't just a pile of coins or land. It became something else, a machine that could grow exponentially, not by magic, not by luck, but by compounding returns. And this is where the story begins, because what happened next changed global wealth forever, and set the foundation for how $1 could become $1 million. Let's start with a simple idea. If you earn interest on your money, and then interest on that interest, and repeat that long enough, the numbers become shocking. But here's the truth most people forget. Compounding doesn't depend on how much you start with. It depends on how early you start. The origins of compounding wealth weren't created by rich kings or powerful empires. They were created by merchants, traders, bankers, and ordinary people who realized something profound. Money grows the same for everyone. Whether you start with $1 or $10,000, compounding plays by the same rules. You just need two ingredients: time and patience. But here's the key historical moment most people don't know. 17th century Amsterdam displayed the first true example of long-term compounding. The Dutch East India Company paid dividends for almost 200 years. If you invested just a small amount and reinvested your dividends over time, you wouldn't just get rich, you'd become generationally wealthy. That's when the world realized, wealth isn't earned, it's grown. Compounding didn't stay a mathematical curiosity. It became the engine behind the biggest financial systems ever built: banks, insurance companies, mortgage lenders, pension funds, capital markets, all of them. Every single one relies on compounding. Let's break it down with real historical examples. 1. Banks, the silent compounding machines. When you deposit money, banks don't let it sit. They lend it out. The borrowers pay interest. The bank collects it, then lends again. This cycle, repeated thousands of times per day, is a compounding engine. Notice something: banks compound your money, but they keep the profit. That's why banks became some of the richest institutions on earth, and why individuals who understood compounding became some of the wealthiest people in history. 2. Insurance companies, the slow giants. Most people think insurance companies make money on premiums. Wrong. Insurance companies invest your premiums sometimes for decades before paying out. They rely on long-term compounding at massive scale. Warren Buffett calls this float. It's the secret behind Berkshire Hathaway becoming one of the most valuable companies in the world. 3. Pension funds. Generational compounding. Governments use compounding to fund retirements. Massive pools of money are invested over 30, 40, even 50 years. Compounding isn't a tool for the rich. It's the tool that keeps entire nations running. And then came the biggest explosion of all: the invention of the index fund. For the first time, ordinary investors could access the power of compounding through broad market growth, even without stock-picking skills. This democratized compounding, or at least, that's what should have happened, because then came the breaking point. Compounding should be the great equalizer. The math is the same for everyone, but something happened, a series of economic shifts that turned compounding into a tool that benefits the wealthy more than anyone else. Here's what broke it. 1. Wages stopped growing, investments didn't. Since the 1980s, stock market returns grew faster than worker wages. That meant the rich invested more. The poor couldn't invest at all. Compounding widened the gap. Not because the system changed, but because access to the system changed. 2. Debt began compounding faster than savings. Credit cards, mortgages, student loans, car loans, all of them use compound interest, but this time, it's working against the borrower. Debt compounds faster than most people's savings, meaning millions were caught in a trap. They were being compounded, but in the wrong direction. 3. Inflation silently killed small returns. Even when people saved, inflation eroded the value. A 2% savings account doesn't help when inflation is 7%. Compounding still worked, but for most people, it was working too slowly to matter. 4. People lost the one ingredient compounding needs most: time, because compounding grows slowly at first and fast later. Time is the multiplier, but if you start at 40 instead of 20, or 50 instead of 30, the entire curve changes. Decades of potential exponential growth are gone. This is the breaking point of our story. Compounding didn't stop working. People simply lost access to the conditions that make it work. But the fallout was even bigger. What happens when debt compounds, savings stagnate, assets grow exponentially, wages stay flat? You get the world we live in today. The fallout is everywhere. 1. The wealth gap exploded. The top 1% own more wealth than the entire middle class combined, in many countries. Why not intelligence? Not luck, not privilege. They simply let compounding run for decades, while others couldn't. 2. Asset prices detached from reality. Housing, stocks, commodities, everything inflated because of decades of compounding capital. But wages didn't. This is why your parents bought a house for a price that seems impossible today. 3. Retirement systems are crumbling. Pension funds were designed for a world where people worked 40 years and lived 10 years after retirement. Now people live 30+ years after retirement. The math no longer works. Compounding can't keep up with demographics. 4. A psychological shift happened. People stopped believing in long-term growth. Everything became short-term. Quick money, fast trades, gambling, meme stocks, crypto hype. Because the slow, reliable compounding machine was out of reach for many. And when societies lose belief in long-term stability, the entire financial system becomes fragile. Governments, banks, and central authorities attempted to fix these imbalances, but almost all the fixes failed. Here's why. 1. Cutting interest rates backfired. Low interest rates were supposed to help borrowers. Instead, they made housing and assets explode in price. Compounding made the rich richer. 2. Printing money created inflation. Money supply expanded massively, but wages didn't. Your savings lost value. Your debt didn't. 3. Financial education lagged behind. Technology schools taught photosynthesis, but not compounding, not investing, not financial literacy. Fast technology plus slow education equals disaster. 4. People chased shortcuts instead of systems. Crypto bubbles, meme stocks, Ponzi schemes, get-rich-quick trading courses. All driven by one belief: compounding is too slow. I need something faster. And every cycle it ends the same way. How $1 becomes $1 million. After understanding the history, the rise, the breaking point, and the fallout, we now return to the mystery from the opening. Can $1 really become $1 million? The answer, mathematically, yes. Surprisingly easily. Let's demonstrate with pure numbers. Example 1, the pure math. If $1 grows at 20% annually, compounded, it becomes $38 after 20 years, $2,353 after 40 years, $1 million plus after 75 years. Impossible. Not at all. 20% annual returns are high but not unrealistic. Amazon averaged 33% annually from 1997 to 2022. Nvidia averaged 37%. Netflix averaged 34%. Early venture funds averaged 25 to 30%. S&P 500 averaged 10% at 10% annual growth. One becomes $7 after 20 years, $45 after 40 years, $4,500 after 60 years. That's just $1. What happens with $100? $1,000, $10,000, you begin to understand why compounding built dynasties. Example to the realistic path: if someone invests $100 per month at 10% annual return for 50 years. They end with $1.4 million. That's $1 million. Not from being rich, not from winning, but from being consistent. Look around. Everything today, wealth, power, inequality, is the result of compounding forces colliding. Housing prices compound, stock markets compound, corporations compound, debt compounds, technology compounds, AI compounds, inequality compounds. We live in the fastest compounding era in human history, which means if you're not using compounding, you're being outpaced by it, and the data is shocking. Modern data that should terrify you. A 20-year-old who starts investing $200 a month ends with $1.7 million at retirement. A 30-year-old investing the same ends with $800,000. A 40-year-old ends with $350,000. A 50-year-old ends with $120,000. Same money, same returns, different time. Compounding doesn't reward more money, it rewards more time. After this entire journey, after thousands of years of history and the rise and fall of financial systems, here are the 3 truths you must remember. 1. Money grows exponentially, not linearly. Your brain can't instinctively understand compounding. You must learn it deliberately, because the rewards are invisible, until they aren't. 2. Time is the real currency, not money. A person who starts investing small at 20 will outperform someone who starts big at 40. Compounding punishes the late, rewards the early. 3. Compounding is slow at first, then unstoppable. The first decade feels boring, the second feels promising, the third feels unbelievable, but you never reach the third decade if you quit in the first. For the last 100 years, markets have grown, inflation was moderate, global stability was mostly intact, but today, debt is exploding, inflation is unpredictable, traditional pensions are dying, housing is unaffordable, technology is rewriting the rules, the world is compounding faster than ever, but so are the risks. If you don't start compounding now, right now, your future won't look anything like the past. If you found this breakdown valuable, if you want more deep, long-form videos that reveal the hidden financial systems shaping your life, make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who needs to understand compounding before it's too late. This is not just financial advice, it's a warning and a roadmap. The earlier you start, the bigger your future becomes. This is the magic of compounding, and now, it's in your hands. Subscribe, like, and share.